Because I think, you know, what we're dealing with here right now is like, I don't know, I suppose it's like messy democracy. How do you create you know, things that people want, but we've got to do it in a way that feels right within the time frame that we have. So people have written things down, some ideas. It would be good to hear these ideas, what people have written. Ideally, we would have had a bit of time to sort of sort through some of these ideas and discuss them and articulate and deliberate about them, and then kind of make a decision on what we all think or could be done to take some action. So that's kind of where we're heading, but I really do need your help. So, perhaps it would be good to hear what has been written. Would that be a good way to start? Yeah? So maybe each person who's got theirs is willing to say something about what their one is and what it relates to, and we can just kind of get a sense of, you've texted them, yeah, thank you. So we were going to get you to do it in a different way, but because of time, I think what might be best is we give them back to you. Back to you.
That's a cop.
It is. And then you'll be able to articulate what is on your bit of paper, because if I do it, I may not get it right. Unless you want me to. I don't mind, but I just might not articulate your idea in the best way that you have written it. I don't want to let you down.
If someone's just putting it down, that means they must be in their mind still.
Oh, without paper?
Yeah, let's shut it out. Yeah.
So they're going to say,
yeah. Oh, their proposal.
you start off.
Some people can.
Okay, so we've got, get started. So it's a little bit about saying something like, you know, in order for blah, 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 I propose blah, 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 blah. Very short, very simple.
For the reduction in air pollution, what needs to happen is the manufacturers, the car manufacturers, and the government have to get together in order to create cars that are lorries that are not run on petrol, not run on diesel. I'm sure that I know that these inventions has been made so that vehicles do not need these fuels.
Yeah.
So I would say that should be a policy.
Okay.
And also,
You got one more policy?
also yes. And
I've also
also,
got a lot of people in the room who want to get time right now, what I'm saying. But no, please, no. I'm not saying,
what else did I say?
is there another one?
There is another one.
But please.
But you said no.
I'm not saying no. You want to leave it. I'm really sorry. It's just that just got
No,
all
this
the
was
people.
only one.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go to the next one. Next person. Because of time.
Right, this is a reality. Last Friday.
Sorry, I'm going to be really strict and say, what is your policy idea? Otherwise, we've been here for a long time and people want to know exactly.
You have to let someone talk first before you. So last Friday, we tried to get Ella's law through, and Parliament was not sitting. Ella's law is about having clean air as a human right. So that's the first thing. We need legislation. And the policy is there needs to be a public health campaign to educate not just people in Lambeth, the whole nation about the impact of air pollution on health. Right now, people feel as if things are being done to them rather than for them. But if people knew how bad air pollution is impacting our health, then obviously some people will come along. Lastly, who is responsible? So I've come from a meeting for today. It is the council. It is the council, the Mayor of London, because maybe Mayor of Manchester, etc., and the government. These are the parties who are responsible for the air you breathe, and that's a fact.
Thank you so much. Who's next? Was that clear, Julie?
Council, Mayor of London,
And the government.
and the government.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's try to be really succinct. So you're professional A-level policy makers. Just like they do in the council. Succinct, clear, no faff, no mess. No meat on the bone.
Okay,
just
so
the bone.
I directed this piece, and when I went down the rabbit hole of all of this, aside from the scientific side, which is both interesting and harrowing and worrying, I came up to a point where I was watching the lady next to me and learning of her child's passing to the effect of the emissions. I watched the environment online, which gives the impression that when her daughter Ella passed to the effect of emissions, that the law known as Ella Law passed had been passed. I'm learning from her in real time now that it hasn't been passed. If you go online, you get the vibe that people are all collectively reacting naturally in terms of humanity when you see a beautiful young baby girl passing away unnecessarily. The mechanics of traffic and emissions, which is something that isn't being dealt with, and even with my research, how it goes over into, if you take an Eli Tech pollution measurement device down into the tube, it only gets deeper and darker and scarier as to how many more times that is lethal in terms of the incubated potency.
So the goal of this policy is?
We have to, well, firstly, we all need, and especially Mummy Ella, Rosamund Ledoux, Kissy Deborah, deserves an explanation for this disrespect to Ella's memory. And at the end of the day, she's been campaigning in her response to her, immeasurable loss. And being governed by people that move like this can't be something that we deem as acceptable amongst ourselves. Obviously, Parliament are responsible, Mayor of London, Council, the usual, that's obvious. But we're living under the impression, with all of the lovely distractions that technology provides, that once a law is passed, it's passed, and then things are just dormant because maybe we don't care enough. The law hasn't even been passed while government gets to be like, oh yeah, what happened is terrible, and vibe as if it's been passed. It's a problem.
Thank you so much. I'll leave it there in the time.
When it suits
It's a problem.
something, that's the law's passed.
What we're trying to do, this is really, really important, and I value all of your contributions right now, but I'm just wondering whether we can really be a little bit more succinct about capturing the actual policy ideas, because the other information that you're sharing is deeply important. It's really crucial that we talk about this stuff, but it's about also the space and time to hold that stuff and also the policy idea that we want to hone in on. Next.
Mr. Seeley has spoken.
I did tell you at the beginning, this is very messy democracy, so we're wrestling with it. And I want to say thank you for being in this process, because it's not easy.
Okay, we've all got to feel more empowered in what we can do every day, and I think that the route to that is education. And the thing that really came to light for me today was the bit about particulars. I don't know what they were called, and I don't know where they live or what they do. So that was just like a really important bit of information for me. We also need to know who the key polluters are in each area. And who and what the key polluters are in each area. So we are all completely aware, because we live in a kind of land of denial where things are a problem but we don't quite know the source of the problem, and that makes us feel vulnerable to being blamed, and it's just not clear. So that would be great if it was clear. Then overall we need new economic models that favour a kind of ecological strategy overall. It's not going to change without that. And we can sort of mess around with sorting out our rubbish and all of that, and that everything is important, but we need new economic models, we need new ways of living as a society, and that will involve us all in behaviour change, all of us.
Can I just say one thing very quickly? Sources of air pollution is transport, wood burning, construction, And, oh, there's one more that I can't think, but it's wood burning, transport and construction. Sorry?
Heating buildings.
Heating, it doesn't cause as much pollution, it doesn't cause, you're talking about indoor air, you're talking about outdoor air pollution. And also, what causes a nightmare for me is policies that councils put in that favour certain groups over other groups. Black and brown people are the most disproportionately impacted, and when this council here wrote to me and said to me, should they do what they've done, I told them not to do it, and they still went ahead and still did it. So that bottleneck you've seen outside, and people in Lambeth have to live with every day, I told them not to do it, but why would they listen to me?
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. Is there another policy idea that we can hear from?
Do I really need this? Chemtrails is another massive one. When I was out yesterday, chemtrails were ridiculous. It was a lovely blue sky to start off with, and then it was chock with chemtrails. They're putting shit in the chemtrails to make us worse. The other thing, as you rightly said, I think that lady, education. And we need desperately to understand it's not just wood and whatever. Nuclear power. You know, people don't realise the damage that does. And they are still using coal to create electricity as well as nuclear power. And as for electric cars, that's a laugh, isn't it? A friend of mine got knocked over recently because she didn't hear it coming. That's a lot more, but I'll shut up.
I mean, I think this is really, really important, and I'm just wondering, when we talk about these things, which are really crucial, I'm just wondering, what do we do with it in order to sort of say, this is a demand, or this is just something that we flaky want to...
You need to mobilise people.
I'm just asking yourselves, is it worthwhile us just having a general chat and talking about what we think we feel? Or is there maybe a different way that might bring about some action? Because I just thought that if we did try to kind of have something written down that outlined what we wanted, that was something that we could then give over and know that doesn't work for you.
It doesn't work,
but I'm asking what might work for us in order to create some collective action amongst us here.
I was going to mention two things that are positive. So one thing would be to put air monitoring into our major roads, because then we actually have the feedback to show people that we're taking action. It helps people who are disproportionately affected, who live in flats on those major roads, and we know when we've got it slightly better. So it gives you incentives to improve. And the other one is default to repair and refit rather than all the construction sites. We've all seen the cranes all over London, and every month there are planning decisions for property developers. So let's not go first and foremost to new build. Let's look at all these empty properties we've got in Lambeth and refit them, make them
So just a few more ideas, and then we need to somehow deliberate what we've got and make some decisions about going forward.
I think if we're looking at also support from our local authority officers, leads, they need to produce reports that talk about the disproportionality of people's health that is affected, but heart disease, cardiovascular disease, respiratory disease, and all of these diseases that we talked about here today. That needs to be in these reports. We need to say, who are we talking about? Because in every neighbourhood, we know exactly where it's overcrowded. We know that our borough has the most largest children's population.
Oh, okay.
So when they're writing a report, all of a sudden you say, oh, it's affecting these people and heart conditions, and then, but to benefit everyone, you then change the language and take away from the narrative that is missing the very people in the story of Grandad. Yeah, so it becomes about those who are able to articulate and live in the better conditions benefiting, and the people who really need to benefit, are they benefiting?
Can we just go here and then repeat?
Okay, I want to go back
I'm just going to simulate the mic.
to pick up on what the lady over there was saying about pollution and looking at the housing.
Yes.
If we go back to the beginning or the essence, we're talking about grandfather with grandson and what we would call a dysfunctional type family in the broad quote of the terminology. Because the grandfather held it was not the air pollution that was his major problem. His major problem was the condition in which he was living. He was living in a flat that was damp, that had mold, he didn't have proper heating, and for how long that might have been going on. And he could not get a proper answer or acknowledgement that his flat, here's a surveyor report, that's not done, he didn't have that to say this is what I've got, this is the problem in my flat. So if that is a multiple of this lady's case, her children suffering, and if that's the case of the people in the older properties, the properties that we say they're not meeting up to the 21st, 2030 standard. They're here, I mean, the windows are still letting in here. They're not double glazed. There's no draft excluder around the doors and windows and that sort of thing. So how much is it costing to repair those property, or do we just leave the people that live there? They'll get sick, they'll die. Unfortunately, you know, it is a double standard. So the new property which you think those people would have been moved into, because the corporate Lambeth, they're only catered for people who are paying their council tax. And the people who are paying their council tax cannot afford to sustain the people who are being given housing benefit and council tax benefit. Because this Lambeth, and this is something that a lot of people don't seem to have addressed when they came in, Lambeth is not like other borough, it's a cooperative borough. Their financing and their thing it's a blueprint that other councils are following.
Thank you so much.
Yes, so we must differentiate between the general eco 2030 pollution that we address about. Really, most of us in this room have been affected by the housing disrepair.
Thank you so much. Can we give a round of applause for that? Thank you so much. We go here and then we'll have to make some decisions about what happens next. Yeah.
I just want to go back to the point about awareness raising, which is what this is doing, and which is why this is so important, and education. Those reports do exist, and Rosamond has spent a lot of time making sure that they do exist. They're not all within the walls of the council, Impact on Urban Health, and some of our other local charities like Walcott. They do have the information and they have the data. It needs to be more widely available in ways that give us the knowledge. And I think as soon as we are empowered with the knowledge, we are in a so much better position to make decisions about what we want to do and who we want to talk to. You know, I wouldn't know to get behind retrofit if I wasn't able to kind of have the knowledge to connect the dots between the climate situation and poor housing. So, you know, looking at the wider determinants of why Grandpa was so ill, it will come back to pollution. It will come back to the situation with the climate. Somewhere along the line, it's all interconnected, and we just need to make sure that people are very, very aware in the simplest ways.
Thank you. More awareness. Okay, I'm going to go finally to here. Is there something that, before you go, is there something that you you'd like to say to us or to what should happen in terms of next steps from your point of view?
Stop trying to push me in there. Because now I've got an appointment. I do feel that our contributions tonight should inform our current strategy to make it inclusive in the voices of the people that have come tonight. We are a part of the solution. We need to also be a part of the budget, and that people here are solution focused. It's not about a dictatorship. If we want everybody to own responsibility, they need to also be a part of the budget. They need to be a part of the budget.
Thank you very much. Let's go back.
Before is, I'm thinking about there are some people that are invisible for the government. They don't do anything, and that invisibility is maybe the solution is what you're talking about: education, knowledge, and also a collective solution. People looking after each other. It's a community, we look after each other, and this
Come together to collaborate.
Yeah.
Okay.
But communities being destroyed in a lot of places, isn't it? And
So,
value to
Yeah, okay. The way forward. Well, the Blackman's Consortium is the one who put on this event. So maybe you people should lead in order to get this to Parliament and get in touch with local MPs, what is favourable to you, so that we could put this into motion. So that's the question what was asked. What is the next step?
yes.
So I would say that should be the next step. There should be a steering group, and maybe you could be the steering group in order to achieve what we need to achieve.
Could anybody support us with that if we were to try to lead on that? Would there be anybody that might support us?
Yeah, there are MPs. By the way, this is not a secret to any MP in Parliament. They all know about this situation. Remember I said to you, Ella's Law was trying to get through last Friday. So you need to write to your MP and demand that she or he uses their voice in Parliament to ask for these things. Everybody knows that. When I say everyone, all the MPs know about air pollution and the impact it's having on health. So you need to lobby your MP. Your MP will then lobby the government. That's how it works.
I understand that, but that doesn't work. So it is people power. That's what I'm talking about, the steering group. The steering group then would then get a petition, and then it's like a domino effect. So everybody knows that this is the situation what we want. This is the solution what we want. So if you do not implement it, there's no vote. There's no vote.
Excellent.
Do you understand? People power. That's what I'm talking about. So someone has to initiate to steer it to make that happen.
Is there anybody else that wants to talk about next steps and what we could do going forward in terms of what might create some progress, some action, something that we can see perhaps progress in? How might that be? What is that?
Hi, I'm Christine, and I'm Paul Champion and also the Deputy Mayor and Councillor for Gypsy Hill. In 2023, I went to Imperial College, Introduction to Clean Air. I didn't really know any of this stuff, I knew nothing. And when they were educating us, I was so shocked. The information, that things that were happening during war. I remember growing up and going outside and you couldn't see one hand in front of the other, and they'd say, that's a right pea super in it. So finding that out, and then they were talking about what you're talking about, the monitors. In our ward now, which I'm very proud to say, we have 14 air monitors. We've got the first one was put at the top of Gypsy Hill Station, one down at the side, there's one on Gypsy Road, so it wasn't a waste of time. I went, I heard, I asked, and they responded, so we've got 14 of those. We've got 2 air quality champions. There is a lot of, because the most important thing is we need the trees, and there is a lot of tree planting going on. So people are requesting trees and they're going out there. So we've gone further than, I haven't got the figures here, but I know that a lot of trees have been planted in my ward. There's people that don't want trees, but they don't understand that the trees are the lungs, and what it is education. And what I would suggest is either getting people from Imperial College to come down and do a teaching, because if you don't know, you think it's a conspiracy theory.
Andrew is lovely. Andrew Green is lovely. So I'll talk to him. I work for Imperial, so I'll get him to come down. As long as people are willing to embrace him.
And also the other thing as well is that all the information that we need is out there.
It is.
And what they actually said as well is that the mayor of London has some really good policies. There's so many things there, but people love their cars. They're not driving the cars. You're trying to stop me from driving a car. But when he spoke about it, when I went down to the train station, the underground, I felt it in my lungs. And I'm thinking, is it because I know now why I'm feeling it? But it is really scary. But at least with those monitors that we have, the A1 monitors that we have around, people can decide, my child is not going out today.
We don't want to scare people though.
No, people say if they know that they would have made that choice. So if they know.
So we'll have a few more people talk and share their concerns. And just before we do that, is there something else that you need to hear or see happen apart from people talking what they need to say? Is there anything else?
People need to understand the process.
They do. So would you be happy? Would you be happy for the next whatever remaining time that you're here, just to hear people talk? That's what I'm asking you all. Is that the way forward? Is that what you want to see happen and be involved in?
I think if we do a little bit of talk, and then perhaps there are 2, 3, 4 points for next action that are really clear and everybody is agreed on, that might be helpful.
Okay. Is that good?
Yeah. Sorry. So I think it's really all the stuff that you guys are coming out with. Your expert by experience. They need to know. You need to let people know in the councils, because now the policies are being written. You're having an exercise in writing policies. The person for the environment is Nina Chowdhury. Write to her. Tell her what it is that you would like. Give them your ideas. They are listening. They're going around doing consultation, and I think this is very important.
But is it? My feeling is that Lambeth Council did some level of vice grip. Is there point in going to Lambeth Council? Is it better to go straight to central government, who are very mindful of the situation they're in and they need black votes? Is it not? Can we just not make it a bigger, more important, more direct?
Yes, because central government it will filter down to us. But I'm saying locally, for our as policies are being written, have some input where you can.
Can I just find out in Lambeth, is there a situation whereby residents are able to have meetings with the people you are talking about, to directly to or to email them? You see, there needs to be an actual dialogue. Time is of the essence. 7th of May 2026, there are elections going on. So they will come knocking on your door next year for your votes. But you need to have a dialogue with the people making the policies. How is that being facilitated?
Can I make a suggestion? Nobody's talking. there seems to be a consensus that it is there, everybody, what needs to be done is out in the public domain. Yeah? Why don't we just list all the actions that need tree planting, all the solutions, solution focus, and list them and put them to the power brokers and say, we want this done, this done, this done, this done, by a date, and timetable it. Because we just seem to be reinventing the wheel. They already know the problem, they know the solution, they know what to be done. Let's list them all, schedule them with a timetable, and let them do the actions. When will this be done? When will that be done? When will that be done? And you go and review it. And if why hasn't this done? And the budgets, you sit down and say, let them have the budget against the actions. You just seem to be just going around, talking, but they already know the solution.
That's all well and good. I definitely agree with that. However, it's like the gentleman over here was saying, you need people power. It's all well and good you writing a list and saying what your demands of what you would like to take place. But if there's no push power or there's no plan B, plan C, yeah, where do you go from there? You only have a plan A. Listing something to people do that all the time, and lobbying people do that all the time.
No,
But if there is no, like the brother was saying, no people power to enforce it. Like, okay, you haven't done it, we're coming back at you. Then what happens is that, well, it just gets swept under the carpet, and that's it.
By the way, that's why I said you need to mobilise. They will always talk to me, but me alone, they will talk to me, but you want action. The more people you get to ask for things, the more people mobilise. That's what people power is. You mobilise loads of you. I've just come from government and the Mayor of London. I called a meeting with the government for today. They didn't know I was coming here. Because I am Ella's mum, I can actually call a meeting. It's taken me 2 years to get this meeting. But everyone was writing notes, putting it down. But in order to get the action, they need, you need to mobilise in masses of numbers and demand action. One person can't do it. Everybody's got to join in. Everybody.
Can we be that group that starts the mobilisation?
Definitely.
Would that be useful? How do we do that?
Definitely. How you do that is you have a mindful sense of connectivity to what it is that generates attention. Now, we're living in a content creation climate. We're still living in what's left of a, arts propulsion, creative response type climate, even though you've got all of the kind of professional flat packing deconstruction of, the arts industries as we know it, that's being presented as a disaster when it's probably a good thing if you pay attention to all of that. The bottom line is that the relatability factor is something that people still all need. Hence why a dramatic piece in the middle of this was the lubricant and adhesive to conversation that's now commencing that is allowing people to sit back and discern whether or not they're hearing anything that's of use or not. And as adults, we can agree to disagree and or collectively take up what it is that we, are all jointly deciding is useful. So what comes to my mind is similar to if I go to the farmer's market on a weekend, I start talking to Farmer Nick, and he's telling me these kids go from not being able to get out of bed to literally just having their bare feet and hands in the soil. And I'm like, why wouldn't you want that for city kids? And then he's like, call me anytime, let's start initiating that. And then my wild imagination says, why wouldn't we have the kids all tuned up like they're on live? So there's a camera on them, where preferably not the phone, because children and phones, as you can see the advert outside, an eye hand. But basically, having an entitlement towards what's going on with our food sources to the same capacity as we are now starting to take interest in the science, and attaching that to artistry, attaching that to content creation culture, as opposed to sitting back and watching all of the rubbish that usually ensues in those areas. that is usually a pollutant to our children. So there's different forms of readings that we need to pay attention to. The over-sexualization of our children, hyper-violence, the drugs culture, the things that we want to see replacing that, i.e. what we're talking about, knowledge of why these things affect the brain and what's going on in the way of how they're skirted around by big corporations and dodgy gov. I'll stop there.
To move us towards actually capturing some actions, is anyone aware of the campaign group Live and Breathe?
Yeah, they're brilliant.
Who are operating in Lambeth and Southwark, led by a performer called Love Sega.
Yeah. Love Sega. Love Sega.
It's called Live and Breathe, and it's a campaign group, and it involves lots of other groups within it, and that's worth paying attention to. They're based here. They're based in Brixton. They're based in International House. Live and Breathe. Yeah. So look them up. They're worth it, and they're worth joining. Live and Breathe. It's solely about air pollution. But they've collected lots of groups with them, you know, from school-run groups to black-led groups who just want to run, who else is on it? All sorts of groups who are involved.
The outside or the inside, like running that inside the environment, is it just...
It's about air pollution.
Full stop.
Full stop.
Out and indoor.
So I think that's an action. We do have elections in May. 7th of May. Are there 3 simple questions that we could be asking the doorsteppers? You know, let's just capture some really simple things.
What might those 3 questions that we want to address be?
When they come and knock on your door, asking for your vote.
I was just going to say, bottom line is respect and value. We all need to start respecting each other and listening to what's being said. And if there's something we can do, we do our best to fulfill that. And valuing, it all goes together. And I'm so glad I came tonight, because this is really, really important, folks, as you all know. And we need to spread the word as much as we can.
Can we stay on topic? When people come and knock on your door, they will come knocking because they want your vote. What do you want them to do? So they are going to come and knock on your door and say, vote for me. What do you want them to do on this particular topic when they come knocking?
There is a campaign going out about homelessness, addiction, and mental health. Everybody, and they're canvassing loads of followers, and people, they're really active. About 500 people on this group. Yeah, I've even on the poster. Yeah. Well, I saw.
Yeah. So, do we have...
So we got to, this is another campaign. Add it onto it. We don't need to do a separate campaign. Add it onto it.
They are doing it, actively doing it. And there's 5 meetings at the Brixton Road.
Yeah.
Recently. So just need to join up. Everybody's doing their own agenda. You can't do that. Everybody's going to be focusing questions and your law. Yeah? So join up with these people and find out how they're canvassing the campaign and getting the appeal. How people a call to action.
So that's one. That's one. Yeah? Would that be okay for one action that we're going to go with?
Yeah. And get your MP to ask questions in Parliament.
We'll assemble.
Yeah. Get your MP
Okay.
to ask
So there's maybe 2 more to do?
Yeah.
2 more simple, clear actions?
Yeah.
My point that I'm making, thank you, is that, okay, sir, we are all here and we're all passionate. And for those of us who have got contacts and those of us who are, I'm going to use the word, funded by the council, eventually you cannot go that far because you are funded within the, by the council. But what the council have to listen to and who they contend to, we cannot go forward without legal representation. None of us here, or if we can, we still need the official stamp of a solicitor to say, this is the point we want to raise. You can raise it individually. And I say this on the back of anybody who's been following the situation with Rockwell Park, and they're saying there's too much commercial thing going on in Rockwell Park. Within the first month, they raised over £33,000 from the people who say we are passionate that they should not cut down all those trees in Rockwell Park. That's how it started, saving the tree to save the bird, to save the environment. And if Rockwell Park goes, they know that they run all of earlier Brixton would even have a worse pollution problem, air quality. And this, however, is what Lambeth have allowed on their side as how you approach Lambeth about what your housing condition is on. And it says there's a panel of specialist housing solicitors. And I'm talking about the grandfather himself right now. What he needs to do is find and contact one of these specialist housing solicitors who are hand to negotiate with Lambeth Council in order to get your property repaired and free of damp, leaks, rotten window, or rodent infestation. And they go on to say, if possible, we'll also look to secure compensation for you for the period of time which you have had the problem. If you feel that Lambeth Council have ignored your request to repair your home and that your family health is at risk, we can help. How many people here are computer savvy? Every form and everything you have to do with Lambeth, you have to get the message. I want to contact T. Brown to come. It has to be done on phone to make, you have a job number. And they come, you have 3 things to be looked at in your flat, and the person comes, oh, we only have 1 job number. But you're here, you're a plumber, you look at the kitchen, can't you look at the bathroom, the tap is just dripping. I don't have a job number for it. So it's those sort of things that is going on and causing the delay. There once upon a time you say, I have a problem at my flat. One person came, who is a supervisor, and showing everything, he writes it down, and he took it away, and you will hear at appointment, the text will come on your phone. You have a mobile phone, you have a number, you're not going to know when they're coming and when they're not coming. So these are the first step in educating that this device, or a computer or laptop, which the council were giving away free 2-3 years ago. They had Home for Lambeth, HTL. They were giving away free things for you to be able to learn. And I do there are people who are teaching and learning people to do it. So our grassroots, we can sit here and it's nice we talk, but our thing don't go until we get an official letter with the solicitor, or we have a solicitor, respectfully, Mr. Tony, that you go to and say, this, we are working and we have solicitors behind us, but take all those forms to the solicitor, all the answers are there, and they are proven cases. This country run on precedent. 1 person, 2 person, 10 person, and I know at least 3. who have successfully gone through this method and got over £1,000. And do you know that if they say your rent is in arrears and your property is damaged, you can use a rent to fix the property, to get a private person to fix the property and challenge them, but you've got to have a solicitor to have the survey report to say what is the risk. You fix it, so my health improved, or I don't pay you the rent, you take the rent money and get it fixed. The provision is there. We need legal understanding. We would just be raising problem.
Can we take a note of that website and we'll list it on the
Yes,
information?
you know,
Errol, if you can take a note of that
Lambeth themselves as solicitors that they appointed, that they said they would do it. That's when they got rid of Railton Road and set to 70. They no longer take housing complaint.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so it looks like we've come to pretty much the end. I think we've got at least a couple of actions. Is there anything that people want to finally state as steps going forward that they recommend that we should be doing as actions? Any final things that you feel you want to say before we close in terms of... So let's pass the mic.
Just airing this as a thought, it's before each full council meeting, as the Deputy Mayor knows, there's a deputation officer.
Sorry, can I just repeat again? I can't hear quite quickly. My ears are...
Before each council meeting, there's 2 minutes to allow deputation to state what they're asking. So that's a possibility. Whether it's effective, perhaps the Deputy Mayor can answer, but that is an opportunity.
Deputy Mayor?
And also you can do, if there is enough people, you can do a petition and present it to full council, but like you said, you can go to the council and do a deputation. But I think what you should look at, because I am hearing them and I totally understand, having gone to Imperial College, there's a lot of things that are being done. Like I said, the tree planting, I know there's some people in my area, in my ward, that don't want it. But it is very important for us. But the canopy, because there's other places where they've got really good canopy covers, and no, they will not. I've asked them to take the tree down. They're not going to take a tree down unless that tree is damaged, because they're doing tree planting and stuff at the moment. So there is a lot of things. Look at what is actually happening, what they're actually doing for the environment, and there is a lot of pushback. People not wanting it.
Sis, what do you mean by deputation? No, that's all I want to clear. Just want to know what you mean. So you can do a deputation.
You submit a form and put in all the people who might want to attend. A couple of people may speak, but you've only got 2 minutes to say all your piece. But as many people as want can stand there, so it does look good. And beforehand, you can stand on the council steps if you want to make your point. And then probably it'll be Councillor Chowdhury will respond in this case.
Okay. Yes?
One more thing. Do you think people are,
are not wanting the environmental improvements because they don't know what they do or what they're about? So does that take us back to the education point again?
I think education is really important. I think that I knew nothing. I knew absolutely nothing really much about the environment. But when I went there, having that information presented to you, you can't shy away from it. So if you've got to say, why are you driving that big car? Why are you driving? Do you? But you don't know the effects it's having on the environment. I have grandchildren, and I want them to be able to be around. I want this to be here for them. So we need, I think in our community particularly, we do need education because there's a lot of things out there.
Can I just add on to that? Can we have more of these things coming up to the election? I am only in Lewisham, and I've left my email, and my PA will pick up things. I think we need to create spaces where people can come. This is the big borough. Lewisham, there's 350,000 of us. But people know where to follow me in Lewisham, and I always put information out there. What's really important is you create spaces, then you can get people from Imperial to come down and talk to people. I really want people to be educated on this matter. But you will need to create spaces here, and the Imperial team will come down and talk. I think that's what you need to do. And it's young, old, everybody. Because the air, we all breathe the air. This isn't a me thing, you thing. And I think people need, like you said, I'm so proud of you that you actually went there, so you know what's going on. I think, like you say, people will be truly shocked when they know what's going on. And thank you for going. I don't know how you found them. And I'm grateful, because you know those monitors in Gypsy Hill, it was based on the interview I gave with Kathy Newman on Channel 4, and that's how Andrew created those monitors. And what those monitors are there to do is, when people see them, please look at them, and it is showing you the air you are breathing. That's what those monitors do. They're not some fancy kind of...
No, I know that.
No, I'm telling people here. Of course I know you know. But I would like them to get some monitors here. That's the whole idea about being monitors. We would like to bring some of them to Lambeth, but the council will have to approve it. We can't just come in and put the monitors here. Your council has to approve it.
The ones in Gypsy Hill, I don't know if it's because I was the ward councillor that was there.
You approved it, that's why we can do it.
But I don't make those decisions. I just made a suggestion to the right people that was it was Imperial, and then they did all the whatever they needed.
Yeah, I'm part of the team, and we have to ask. We can't just put monitors. We can't just go into politics.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, everybody. It's been a really great for you to give up your time this afternoon. I really do hope, I mean this, that Ras, if you could just hold that there for 1 second. I really hope that this afternoon has been useful and it's been meaningful, and that we are somehow making progress in some way that has been useful this afternoon. And it may not be everyone's cup of tea in terms of what happens next, but I really do hope that somehow from today we can move forward in a way that will be useful to see some change in the not-distant future. Thank you so much, everyone. Hang on, one second, hold your horses.
Thank you to Tony Seeley and the Black Men's Consortium for bringing this and allowing us to kind of interact with it. Do more.
Thank you.